Hola, hola, ¿cómo están aquí? Buenas noches. Aquí estamos ahora esta noche con el Washington Now. Aquí el programa político de VTRU. Aquí tenemos un candidato que él está corriendo para el alcalde de Tacoma. Hi, welcome back to Washington Now here on VTRU. I feel really excited. Thank you for coming back. For those who like my podcast here, and we have somebody very special here today with us, especially this week. We have a candidate for for mayor of Tacoma. We have
Anders Ibsen.
I'm kind of like a little nervous.
That's all right.
It's okay. It's my show, but you make me nervous a little.
Oh,
you're running for the top part. But here we are.
Just a guy.
As you know, this show, it is a political show a little bit, but it's also, we want you guys to get to know the candidates. Queremos que ustedes conozcan los candidatos. Este programa no es muy político, pero quiero que conozcan a él porque en estos días, en noviembre 4, vamos a tener un voto. Y cuando estás votando, quiero que le conozcas a la persona, no nomás leas lo que está en el librito. What I just said was, I want you guys to, when you vote, because we have a big night, November 4th.
Yeah.
November 4th is the night for us here in Tacoma. We're going to be selecting a new leader, a new program, a new person. And so whenever you vote, when you vote, you look at your pamphlet, you're going to read what you say. But I want this program for him to be able to reflect. Get to know him. So, how are you? First of all, how are you?
Yeah, of course. It's great to see you here.
See you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been definitely a long year, but it's been really fun engaging people and just learning more about what people from the community need, and really looking forward to having the city better reflect the needs of people and just have a better approach, a better energy to helping people.
Yeah. Yeah, as you know, this is a Spanglish show. So as you know, for people who haven't seen my show before, I go back and forth to Spanish. So thank you for being patient while I translate. But I think mainly I'm going to focus on English this time because we do want to hear you, not me translating the half a night. Yeah. So lo que voy a hacer esta vez, lo voy a dejar un poquito más en inglés porque el candidato quiero que habla más para que lo conozcan. I want you guys to get to know him while he talks. So I'm going to let him speak a little bit. So how you do? I mean, first of all, how you doing? I mean, are you it takes a lot of energy, a lot of time. Are you resting? ¿Estás descansando?
Yeah, so you can't do this without a team, and that's really the same approach that the city needs as well. So part of what made me embark on this journey, besides just the fact that this is my hometown, I grew up here. I had the privilege of serving on the city council for 8 years, from 2012 2019. It's how you and I became acquainted,
became friends,
as we know, yeah. And you can't do this without other people in your corner. So I have a beautiful 3-year-old son going on 4, for example.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a blessing to have children.
Yeah, just 2 weeks after Election Day, he turns 4. So we're
perfect timing.
Really excited, yeah.
What is his name? If you don't mind.
His name is Wally.
Wally, okay.
Short for Wallace.
Wallace, okay, Wallace.
After his great-grandfather.
Oh, wow. Hey, you're keeping it in the family, right?
Absolutely, yeah. He's just a marvelous little guy. He's been wonderful, and I have just a very, very nice, helpful co-parent, 3 grandparents who live within 5 minutes of the area, so he gets the extended family.
So you're really Tacoma. You are generational Tacoma.
Yeah, and some dear friends who have children his age. It's a village, That's the cliche, is that it takes a village to raise a child.
That's what you want in your town,
Yeah, and this campaign would not have been possible without the village. And so everyone, when I was mulling over whether I should do this or not, everyone just voluntarily stepped up, and that's what made it happen. And it's that same kind of energy, that same kind of culture that City Hall really needs, because it's not just about a single mayor, it's not just about a single politician who's going to put all the problems and just move them away. But
it's definitely a team.
It's about your village.
And that's why you have a board, and you have all these community supports and it's these departments. We are a community.
Yeah, and
basically.
It's about who the village is, who that team is in terms of the community leaders, the members of the council, and also the staff that the city hires, which is actually a really important decision that the city has to make in the next several months, is who is going to be the new city manager. And that's something that I really want to have a lot of.
That's a big issue coming up.
Yeah.
Talking about issues. But give me 1 second. Let me let a little bit. You got to remember Spanglish.
Okay,
So, en palabras básicas, dijo que él está muy alegre que correr por candidato candidato y él lo está haciendo porque tiene un equipo de gente alrededor de él. Tiene un equipo de gente como sus vecinos. Cuando estaba pensando cómo ser para correr por la posición, toda la gente alrededor le ayudó. Tiene un hijo que va a cumplir 4 años 2 días después de la elección. Entonces él ahorita se siente muy bien. Él está hablando más de comunidad porque la comunidad también... la comunidad, tenemos que ser comunidad. Hay, como estamos hablando de los que la gente que soporta que la ciudad es en parte, pero como dije, lo voy a hacer un poquito más inglés. And let me get back to in English here a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
So let's do a little bit of the political side, and then we'll go back to where have you gone fishing?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
So one of the things that is, some of the topics in Tacoma are homelessness. I mean, what are the issues in Tacoma that are, as a mayor, what do you feel about, or is there a plan? Is there anything that you, because I know you were city council, so you understand how the process works. What is the most pressing issue of the homeless issue here?
Yeah, well, the homeless issue, the most pressing thing is that the city's approach has been too insular, and it hasn't been regional enough, and it's been very reactive. So one of the biggest complaints that I hear from neighbors and business communities is not just the slowness to respond, but also the fact that we're basically just shuffling people around in different neighborhoods. So instead of having a longer-term approach that tries to keep people housed, for example, and tries to give people support, and when people do fall through the cracks, how do we rapidly get them into places like shelter or any place, And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be some kind of protection of public spaces or whatnot, but there has to be a relationship between that and shelter, or else you're just spending millions and millions of dollars on the same old thing, and that's unfortunately what the city has doubled down on.
Unfortunately, we've been going through that for the last, what I remember in Tacoma.
Right, and so how do we have a better approach, and how do we think bigger in terms of involving Pierce County and our surrounding cities, and just having a more comprehensive approach?
Also, a lot to do, even though this is not the topic, housing does help, more housing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, homelessness is fundamentally about housing, and if we can just spend far smaller amounts of money on the front end to just keep someone in their apartment, just keep them housed and make sure that they have what they need to stay housed, that's an ounce of prevention worth 10,000 pounds of cure. It's significantly more effective.
So that brings me to a little bit another point. And what kind of development are we dealing with that? I mean, how are we dealing with some of the housing issues? I'm sorry to change from the subject here, but yeah.
Well, they're not changed at all, because homelessness is fundamentally about housing. And while we have had some development in the city, especially downtown, for example, where we're recording this right now, most of those are totally unaffordable to people living in the city. Your typical,
unfortunately, that's happened in Tacoma, where it's kind of got more expensive than some of the people that are normally here.
Yeah, and your average Tacoma family is not going to be able or willing to pay $2,000 to $2,500 per month on a one-bedroom apartment. That's not something a family is going to rent, let alone a family with a background in Tacoma, for example. And so what can we do to actually increase the amount of housing that's available for families already here, not just the people being priced out of Seattle, for example, and for those seeking to actually get home ownership, to actually build wealth, what are more starter home type opportunities?
Yeah. And one of the things that brought me to Tacoma, because I could have lived anywhere, was the assistance. For first-time buyers, things like that, And to me, that was very critical because, again, sometimes the income is just one family member with income things like that. But
and if I might, something that I've noticed just in my own private practice, because I work in housing.
That was just about I'm trying to bring that in a little bit.
Sure. Is something I'm seeing more and more, which I think is actually a good thing socially, is we're seeing a lot more multi-generational housing. So it's no longer just a couple and their kids, but parents buying with their kids or people buying with their cousins or whatnot. And how can we make our code more reflective of reality to make it more accommodating for multi-generational living?
Oh, good. Yeah, it's true, especially with the economy now. A lot of people are almost forced to have that kind of scenario.
Yeah, so instead of just making it forced, how about making it more intentional and thereby make it just better for people to actually live in.
I remember growing up, being Hispanic, a lot of Hispanic people, they kind of help each other out sometimes. They live with each other. And
it's the family.
I mean, that's the family.
Everything,
Yeah. Well, a little bit about a little bit about the resources for Tacoma. How about economic development? Is there any like major projects that you have in mind? Anything that, we do have a lot of Latino footprint, I call it. We have a big footprint of Latino businesses in Tacoma. Some of them may be small, but we also have a few big ones.
Yeah.
And what's your outlook? What do you feel? How can we help the Hispanic?
Yeah, so economic development matters both big and small. On the small day-by-day side, a lot of it is just better accessibility to opportunities like city contracting, for example, making our permitting process work even smoother, which we might have some opportunities to reshape how the permitting department works. But a lot of economic development is just about communities, because most small businesses, most people's interaction with small businesses takes place in neighborhoods. And if you look at places like McKinley Hill, for example, or East 72nd, for example, these are very Hispanic neighborhoods, for example, with some of the best Hispanic foods that you can have, for example, just in that area. Yes. So how can we better relieve these neighborhoods of the same types of issues that any other neighborhood is suffering through, like getting a better handle on homelessness, on public safety. I mean, we also just support for people's basic necessities, like the loss of the Fred Meyer on Pacific Avenue, for example.
I was just about to bring
food
deserts.
deserts.
I was just about to bring the food desert on you, but you beat me to it. But is the city doing something with that right now? I know our candidates that I recorded here recently.
There's some conversation. I think there's an apartment developer who might have eyes on it. But the biggest thing is, how can we better support not just the safety of the area, but the overall design and the appeal?
To me, that was kind of like the community center, that Fred Meyer in that area.
Not to mention pharmacies too. It's not just groceries, but pharmacies. And the thing is, to speak positively, is that when the city does make its appearance known in an area, like a good example would be the Lincoln District around South 38th. Where the city,
all that construction they did. They put in the federal support.
I voted for it.
You did?
I voted for it.
Well, as you know, some of the business I'm associated with are there.
And it started with the Starbucks, and now we're seeing some more things come together. And I'm actually in my private hat working with someone trying to get a nice community space there, for example. And of course, the new Patsy Sir affordable housing apartments. Those are beautiful.
Those are beautiful.
Right. And so the city's investment of infrastructure, beautification, services, that itself is just as much about safety as law enforcement and mental health response, and it all ties together. And in my campaigning through the community, I've seen corridors like East 64th Street is a very good example that the city put some love in, and the results speak for themselves.
It's a beautiful street.
So what could we do about
it? It's a little too narrow for me. I can't go. No.
Well, that's the point, right?
I know.
Because everyone complains about the drag racing.
I know.
And so what's the vision there for, say, Pacific Avenue? Because there was some talk about bus rapid transit, and that unfortunately didn't make it. But
that's very unfortunate. We didn't get the train to go that way. We on the east side. I'm going to say we were a little hurt. about Portland Avenue. I remember. But what's the vision for not just the transportation, but the accompanying housing that's more affordable, for example, just the beautification of the space to make it more attractive, and just to give people from the different neighborhoods nice things. And I know this is a general city talk, but I'm a heavy east side. Present. And we do need more of that over there.
Yeah, and so back to your question originally about support for small business, beautifying and just making our neighborhoods more attractive, clean, and safe, that itself is just as economically vibrant and relevant, just as much as support in the form of grants, of loans, of better permitting, and also just making sure that we're supporting people in the Hispanic community in general through these really turbulent, unstable times. I mean, we have really lucky to have local law enforcement like Interim Chief Patty Jackson.
And I was going to talk about that too. I mean, I know we're going everywhere right now, but bottom line is that's something the city's going to be facing, right? Yeah. The new manager and the new chief.
Yeah, and just making sure we stand to protect the entire community's freedom and constitutional rights, and you can't be prosperous if you're not free, right? Yeah. And so we have to really make sure that our leadership stands behind our values and protects people.
I was going to say at this time, would you become the mayor first before we select someone? Or is the process? Okay.
Yeah, my best understanding is that they're conducting opening processes. So they're allowing for applicants for the position to currently apply. And then I think in the first couple of council meetings, they're going to have a short list that the consultant is going to arrive at, and then the city council is going to make decisions about who actually is going to be further pared down and interviewed, and that's going to be.
But the incumbent one seems pretty. I mean, she seems like a good candidate. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. You know, we can go on and on here, but also another question, as you know, I'm very environmental. I hope you know that by now.
I am too.
We have a little history.
Yeah.
And there's been rumors of expansions and maybe bringing the methanol back. What do you know about that? What do you hear? How do you feel about that? Because we do have some customers here that are, I mean, people listening that might be concerned with that.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't heard anything about a methanol plant or anything along those lines. To the best understanding that I have, the city is about to wrap up the sub-area plan for the Port Tie Flats area, which, along with that, something I voted on was the interim regulations, which became the permanent regulations zoning, banning the expansion or relocation of new dirty fossil fuel industries. And for me, it's environmental, but it's also back to economical, because that's not the future. That's not the future of where the jobs are going to be, where the technology is going to be, where the opportunities are going to be for future investment. It's all about the green economics. It's all about economic, sustainable opportunities, and that's also where the education is going to be, and which is really timely with the school district's investment in the Port Maritime Center, for example, our trade and technical colleges in the area too. And for me, back to economic development, one of my big passions is doing our best to find out what Tacoma can really do the best job of winning at in terms of our manufacturing or other comparative advantages, and how can we best align our public education, our K-12, our community college system to accommodate that to best heighten the advantage. We're also really blessed in having great partners like Tacoma Public Utilities, Tacoma Rail, we have a publicly owned short line rail system, which is some of the cheapest rates in North America. And can we better leverage these kinds of programs to make ourselves even more attractive for expansion or relocation of relevant industry partners? So these are a few things I'm really interested in.
Yeah, and then, it invites more industry to come back. Is there any,
and it's industry of our choice is the thing is making a focus on the clusters that are most conducive for success, that can give the greatest employment opportunity for local residents and for local kids who are graduating from the school system, for example, and just align it with intention rather than just on accident. Yeah.
Well, you always got to pay for everything.
Yeah.
So, question is, I know we're going to be facing probably some shortfalls this time around.
Oh, we are right now.
We are right now.
Yeah, there's still a.
So, what is your attitude? What do you think? I mean, do you have any plan of action? Anything that you can already see if you were to be elected?
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me of 14 years ago when I was first elected to the city council in 2011. There was a budget shortfall then too.
Yeah, so you're a professional at this by now.
I suppose it would make of that what you will. And the problem with our budget is that it's really set up to fail. We have what's called a structural budget deficit, which is not just a one-time thing. It's not just some mismanagement here or there, although I do think that there are definitely areas for improvement. Yeah. But it's because most of our money that we talk about, for funding the core services like law enforcement, street repair, libraries, human services, comes from 4 taxes. It comes from our share of the property tax, the sales tax, the business tax, and there's a tax on utilities. Yeah. And the problem is that our property tax is always declining in real dollars because the way that Tim Eyman, who's this initiative guy a number of years ago, set it up, it is that the property tax is always giving less money every year than inflation. Yeah. So it's actually always losing money no matter what, right? And the sales and the business taxes are dependent on the business cycle. And as any business owner watching this knows, are all your years the same? Or is every year a good year? No. Are your expenses ever different? No. They only go up with time, right?
Go up with time,
So the city is much like a business in the sense that we have good years and bad years on the revenue side.
Yeah, on the revenue side.
Speaking as a business owner, my expenses have, unless I've really made some cuts, those things are always going to go up just because of natural inflation and just that's the reality, right? And so therein lies the problem is that the sales and the business taxes are always set to the business tempo, right? And so in a good year, you have some money. In a challenging year, like we are right now with the trade wars, for example, and inflation, people are really holding back with spending money. And so businesses suffer, which means that the state and local governments don't make as much. But it's not like our obligations end. It's not like we don't have. It's not like we don't have the same or more need for law enforcement, for street repair, for public education, and so therein lies the challenge. Is that we have a revenue system that's set up to fail. We have needs that continue to grow. We have a high needs
it's set up to
population.
fail, but is there anything that you could? Because I figure you might be here 8 more years if you were to win.
I appreciate
is there any direction?
I appreciate the confidence. So there is. So both in the short term and the long term. In the long term, there's no way around the fact that we need to advocate for meaningful reform to the state tax code that doesn't punish the working poor, small businesses, and seniors, but actually asks the most of people who can afford to do it and gives greater relief to the people who are struggling, right? That's what we need long term. In the short term, what we need is to exercise all of the levers that we have within our disposal in the most professional and the most thoughtful way possible. So on the revenue side, we have 2 failed levies, which I think had a lot to do with people's comparative lack of trust in the city. And these were for very important services like street repair, school safety, fire and EMS, for example. So if we were to revisit those, could we do a better job of better engagement, including organizations and community organizations like yourself, business groups, what have you, to make sure people are actually getting...
a lot of nonprofits in the city.
Yeah, just making sure people actually get what they need, and that any kind of investment, further investment in infrastructure is better tied towards economic development, boosting activities like housing and others, for example. So on the revenue side, there's no way around some of those conversations. On the expense side, there's no way around needing to, unfortunately, close up some positions, maybe make alignments, and in the worst case, make layoffs. But making sure that we're as thoughtful as possible so that we're not cutting off our nose to spite our face, and that as the economy improves,
it's got to stay system working.
And can we best pave the path there? And can we also just hold more non-traditional?
But I don't want to be negative, Nelly, but as we know, being affected by the administration is on now, and there's going to be a lot of shortfall too statewide. So we also have to be prepared for cuts too.
And back to homelessness, that's another key reason why we need to do a much better job of working in greater concert with organizations like Pierce County, maybe even the Puyallup Tribe of Indians, surrounding jurisdictions, peer cities, and other parts of the state. Because one, it's not just Tacoma's problem. We need to have an equitable sharing of the burden, for one.
It's a regional thing.
Yeah, and for two, we need to make our funding of these services more resilient in the wake of the federal government under the Trump administration turning off money just because he doesn't like the politics of certain areas, like a dictator, right?
I know. Don't say the word, but king.
That's the reality, right? Well, there are no kings, right?
Yeah, I know there are no kings.
But we just need to get a better handle on that, which is unfortunate because the federal government should be a partner, not an adversary.
Exactly.
But we also need to pay for things, and we also just need to keep people fed is the other thing. I mean, with food stamp support ending.
SNAP right now is the number 1 thing nationally. And that's November 1st is going to be the end for many people.
So
we're going to be faded probably.
So add food security on top of the most pressing issues. So we've already talked about housing, and we've talked about funding these core services, and not just surviving and bailing out the boat, but actually charting a better course and growing the economy. But on top of that, you can't do any of those things with hungry people. So how can we work better with the state, with our partners, with our local community organizations?
Is there any pre-planning? I know November, you're a few days away from being elected. But
yeah, sure.
Do you know anything that the city might be helping to do that? Anything? Because I know we have a lot of emergency food networks here. We have a lot of, luckily a lot of churches are very big supporters here in Tacoma. I worked in a nonprofit. So.
And that's going to be really crucial, right? And so to your point, there's already a lot of help and a lot of work that's been going, but can we better align all of this under the same roof? Under
the same net. I call it a safety net.
Literally. We actually
safety net
we need to prevent people from falling into hunger and starvation, right?
We have a lot of ALICs here. We call it too.
People
who are functioning,
working poor. Yeah, and so how can we better get a handle on that? Because this is just unfortunately a new development with the weaponization of the government shutdown to literally starve the perceived political enemies of President Trump. And so in the absence of the federal government doing its job, how can we protect people? How can we protect your rights? How can we make sure that you have a meal and your kids have meals? That'll be taking up a lot of my time along with the other stuff too.
Well, I think I grilled you a little bit on your plan of action, and I'm glad. But let's get to know you a little bit. I mean, a lot of people are going to be watching going, that's political talk. Who is he? who are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, tell us, generational Tacoman, you saying?
Yeah.
Tell me about your run as what did you learn as a city council? It sounds like you're very involved. It sounds like you really love this city.
Yeah. That's my home, definitely. I tell people I love Tacoma like a relative, right? Because who else but your relatives can you just adore and just, can do no wrong, and then in the same breath, how can you be so stupid? Like,
or how can you be so different?
So frustrating.
You don't want to say stupid in front of the people right now. But anyway.
A little bit of candidness, right?
No, I know.
But we thought that about our family, right?
Yeah,
what I mean by that is that I've seen some really great thinking, some really great stuff in our city. Like, I was literally there when I was 7 years old, when I saw the circus smokestack come down. I've seen what's come up to replace it, and
just the old smelter down there, the old copper.
Remembering the aroma of Tacoma, Ivan the Gorilla, and all that stuff, right? God. Old school, right? Yeah. So I've seen all of these really cool replacements. I've seen very recently things like the beginning of a nightlife around South Tacoma Way, for example, and some of the new things being built downtown, UWT.
A lot of art.
Yeah.
We got
the art.
What is it called? What organization for the arts here in Tacoma?
We've a lot. I know what you're talking about. Tacoma Creates, for example.
Yes, that's the part.
Porch Fest. Yep. So we've seen some really amazing things, but we've also seen the gaps, and we've seen the areas that the city just has either not risen to the occasion or has frankly actively made things worse. And that's everything from our lack of certainty when it comes to environmental planning to our, I think, flawed response to issues like homelessness and our being really late to the party on questions of affordability and housing and so forth, right? And so that frustrates me. And so it's sort of the push-pull of pride and frustration is kind of my why. It's just my hometown, and it's the place where I want my 4-year-old, my soon-to-be 4-year-old, to have it even better than I did.
There you go.
And
for the future.
And aside from that, I mean, I'm besides being a lifer, I'm also a small business owner. I'm the managing broker of a real estate team. I'm also a home appraiser. I live off of North 21st Street, bounced around different Tacoma neighborhoods my whole life, but never really left the city. And first class of Tacoma School of the Arts as well. So I saw downtown really come to life.
Really?
Yeah.
My kid went to that class. Yeah. You talking about Soda?
Soda, yeah. Class of 2004.
Wow, yeah, my kid went there.
What year?
Oh boy, 2017.
What was his specialization?
The arts and graphics.
Oh, graphics. Okay, yeah.
And now he works in 3D gaming.
Oh, fantastic! Cool.
And it's amazing. And my other daughter was one of the 3 students that ended up going to aviation high school.
Oh, fantastic.
So the only 3 students out of the city made it, and she represented Tacoma.
Yeah, and that's something, that's another aspect of Tacoma pride, is that we've had some really innovative schools in terms of SOTA, SAMI, now the Port Maritime Center,
Project Learning,
IDEA, McCarver. And so there are all these great examples of things that if only we scaled even further, and what further support could the city lend, and how can we just make sure that everyone is better off, so that we're raising a standard that lifts everyone up instead of leaving people behind. That's something that I really care about. It breaks my heart when people are left behind. That's where kind of my heart lies there.
Yeah.
And aside from that, I'm pretty boring, man.
Like I said, tell us about yourself.
Yeah. I'm raising a kid. I'm running a business. I'm running for office. That's kind of my life right now.
So but you have any hobbies? I mean, do you bike ride? Do you go? I mean, I know you're not doing it now because you're running, but is there anything that you do that you like to do that you could share? People get to know who you are.
Pretty athletic. I go to a gym in the area. I'm a runner. I'm part of a group called Tacoma Runners.
There you go.
We do 5Ks every week, so I do that.
Wow.
I do martial arts.
I can't even run to the refrigerator.
Oh, that's fine. This has been really good for getting my steps in this whole campaign.
Oh, exactly.
Tacoma has many hills. The east side has Fairbanks. Many hills. Right?
McKinley Hill. I walked McKinley Hill up a couple times.
Oh, of course.
I want to do it again.
Yeah.
But anyways, well, hey, it looks like we're coming here a little bit to the end. Is there anything that you like to talk about? Is there anything, this is your kind of time with us, if you'd like to kind of have some message? Yeah,
a couple of things. One is in paying attention to the down ballot races, besides mayor and council and so forth, there are some very important races for the county charter. And so these are people who are going to have the responsibility for making some really crucial determinations. The biggest issue of which is greater accountability for the county sheriff. You might have heard about the recent sheriff, but unfortunately he is solidly MAGA, right? He believes in deputizing sheriff's deputies to carry out the work of ICE.
Yeah, we're not going there.
Yeah, right. So we have the opportunity to amend the county charter to potentially move that into an appointed position that's directly under the authority of elected officials like the county executive and the county council, for example. So there's greater accountability to the values we hold as a community. And so making sure to vote for people on the lower part of your ballot who are going for charter county charter commission is really crucial.
Charter commissioner, okay.
And also very crucially is, besides just the importance of voting in general, is that we've heard of some delays in the postal service, unfortunately, just because again,
back federal shutdown.
Back to Trump's intentional cuts, right? Which is literally intentional voter suppression. It's literally what they were trying to do. So unfortunately, in order to better respond to that, since by the time of this recording, it might be risky, frankly, if you mail your ballot out. Yeah. So make sure to just drop your ballot off at the drop box.
At the drop box,
Even though the postage is paid for you, if you drop it off on the weekend, it might not arrive in time and your vote might not count.
No, drop it off now. Vota ahorita. Ahorita voy a hablar en español un poquito porque dijo mucho, pero vamos a estar aquí. So you kind of brought up a point that I forgot to ask you but we still got a little bit, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
As a city, and I know it's a federal thing, is there anything with the detention center, the detention center that you'd like to talk about that because I remember we supported that. We went many nights down there, and
I remember your efforts. So I do think that there are things that we can do without getting too far ahead of pending or whatever litigation. The reality is that GEO is a regulated, for-profit, licensed business entity in the city of Tacoma, and we have had greater accountability in the form of our state's attorney general, for example, suing them over their minimum wage violations, for example. And the other thing too is we have state law under the Keep Washington Working Act that allows for greater inspection for detainee safety by the
health department.
The health department, correct. Of which the city of Tacoma is one of the two governing bodies. It's us and Pierce County. So how can we better hold our health department accountable in just carrying out state law to ensure that people are protected? I spoke with detainees very recently at GEO, and I actually spoke with a gentleman who had been legally a green card holder in the United States, married to an American citizen. ICE picked him up during a citizenship hearing. And that is the lawless fascism that we are seeing from this administration, and having leadership that can directly call a spade and ensure that we are doing everything we can to allow for greater legal representation of people who are the vast majority of which have nothing criminal about them in the slightest. It's purely just an attempt by this administration to move out certain groups of people. And how can we better hold people accountable while also ensuring greater protection and access to your constitutional rights?
Exactly. I mean, I hate to say it, but there's been deaths there. So it's not really like just somebody going through a process.
Yeah.
And that brings me another question. Maybe this is for me.
Yeah.
As a city, can you shut down a business? Even though it's federal backing and all that stuff, you can't? Okay.
No, unless there has to be something very, very unlawful or illegal. But we can't politically use our licensing or permitting or administrative things just to go after something that we don't like.
Yeah. So I understand. The example, be fair to everybody in the city. Yeah.
I mean, the example I give people is let's say you had a MAGA majority on the city council and they used their power to shut down immigrant-owned businesses, right?
Yeah.
Because of their politics, right?
Yeah.
So we have to. I do believe that there are many more tools that we could be exploring to ensure accountability and to ensure protection of people's rights.
Yes.
But we just have to make sure that we're using appropriate legal channels.
Because I feel with this immigration thing nationally, this is going to just keep growing in some ways, and it's very.
And it's more than just immigration. Let's be clear.
Remember, you're talking to Hispanic. A lot of Hispanic people are going to be watching this, and just so you know, from the Hispanic point of view, we feel insulted as a community. Absolutely. We feel hurt.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of psychological things. So
we're
open, and I like what I hear from you. How you think about sanctuary situations and things like that. But mainly, I just want to tell you that a great support for the next.
Thank you.
That would be great.
Well, absolutely, yeah. And to be clear, just about our shared values, this is very much about the protection of some of our biggest groups in the community and the people who make Tacoma the beautiful community that it is. And it's also about shared values just as Americans, because the reality is the efforts that we're seeing against members of the Latino community and others, for example, it's not like they're going to stop there.
It's not.
For them, it's not just about immigration. Immigration is their first step. I mean, Hitler didn't just stop at one group,
Well,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
I know. But anyways,
Let's be
I
real
don't
about
want,
this.
yeah, let's move on from this because I
Sure.
think it's scary, get ugly. Well, like I
Right.
said, I asked you about being, we got a few more minutes, so you asked me to tell me about yourself. Is there any more thing
Right.
you'd like to talk about yourself?
I'm a really easygoing guy, as you can tell,
Okay.
right?
All right, with that, we're going to close this program. No.
Sure. Yeah, aside from that, I just wanted to express my gratitude. It's
Okay, thank
just
you.
been wonderful being your friend over the years. And,
Yeah.
and friendship is all about candor and accountability. And
Yeah.
I think you and people like you have done a really good job of both being approachable while also advocating for your issues. And that's something I'm very much looking forward to continuing. And if I am elected, this is not the only time you see me. I would love to continue this conversation and my vision for...
The doors are open for you if you become elected. Or any
Absolutely,
candidates
yeah.
elected,
Yeah.
this door's open. My podcast show is just basically
Yeah.
get to know somebody. I don't want to be a political issue. We're getting to know you. You're easy on the eye. That's all we know right now.
And we just need to do a better job, I feel, of having more of a two-way street.
Exactly.
And I'd love to do more of that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And we are also, let me just say a couple words in Spanish. Close
Sure.
up the program. Ya sé que no hablé mucho en español, pero también el candidato, mi razón en que lo que entendí, que él tiene un buen programa para Tacoma, porque él se ve que tiene mucho amor para la ciudad. Es un hombre de familia y espero que voten. Todos votan en Tacoma, por favor. Tacoma tenemos un voto muy bajo por los latinos, porque ya sé que estamos trabajando, pero también los que pueden, por favor, noviembre 4, pongan su carta en el correo y si no lo manden o llevan a la caja. Ahorita mañana, el 4 de noviembre, tiene que estar en la caja de votar. Y con eso acabamos este programa. Y muchos gustos y buenas noches a todos. Good night.